city folks all across the land here. We are back with another one. Tired as kept, but we are back with another one. Guilty pleasure movie, I assume. No, this is guilty pleasure movie day. It
is a guilty pleasure movie, but it's at least one of those movies that I would recommend it to people to give it a shot. Give
it the good old college try. You'll get something out of it that you didn't expect to.
Is this the first time Travolta ever truly plays a bad guy? Like, to actually play a bad guy? I mean, technically, I understand that Pulp Fiction is kind of in that category. Face Off. Okay. So this kind of continuing that trend, and he does it so well during that like late 90s to early 2000s. This is going to be great. I'm excited for this.
Let's get into it, everybody. This is Back to the Classics, the Cinematic Movie Podcast. That takes you back to the iconic films of 20 years ago on the streaming platform Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm missing a whole bunch of them right now. iHeartRadio, Pandora. Of course, download the Beat Network app at Amazon. And of course, follow us at www.beatnetworkonline.com. I'm your guy, Jan Alonso. With me, of course, is
David Danger Neff. And partner, we're tired. We're getting old. We got to stop recording this late.
I can't function like I used to, bro. Like over the weekend, it's been so much going on. And, this is the second week in a row that I've been like partying, like hard partying, for friends, birthday parties. And obviously we had the boxing match yesterday, which we're not going to get into. Fuck that. But I come to the terms that I can't hang out like I used to. You know what I mean? And like for example, one of my good friends is in town right now from LA. And so he called me and goes, "Hey bro, listen, we're in town, bro. Come through, my man, so we can do." Hey man, that's great, bro. Nah, I think I'm gonna go ahead going home and call it a day. I can't function like I used to.
I can do brunch. Do you guys do brunch?
We're at brunch age. We're definitely at brunch age. Like, yeah, bro, I could get with you, but to consume alcohol Friday, Saturday, Sunday, turn up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just go all out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like for 2 weekends in a row now. I'm just like, this hurts.
It's not sustainable. I'm there with you, man. This past weekend, we kind of had like a little kickback on Saturday, and we watched The Conjuring, Devil Made Me Do It, which was sorry. There's not really a whole lot for me to kind of say on it outside of expect you're not going to get any different than what you saw from the first or second one, which if you like the first and second one, you're gonna
likely like this one. Yeah.
If you never cared for the series, you're never going to care for this movie either.
I've never seen a single one actually.
They're okay. They're just okay. I'll say this: I almost feel like the best of those movies is the spin-off Annabelle, but specifically Annabelle 2. Woo! That one.
Oh, now I have seen Annabelle and Annabelle Creation. Annabelle Creation is fun. It's so much fun. I would definitely give you that for sure. But
it has a lot for you.
Oh yeah, The Nun I never caught, and here we are now at Conjuring 3. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I guess the Curse of La Llorona is also part of it, and I'm like,
is it? I didn't know.
That's where I'm at with it. Yeah, apparently there was a boxing match. I didn't bother catching it. We're not going to really discuss it. We can say for those of you who paid $50, I can really, really understand why you want to get your money back. Otherwise, for us Golden Knights fans, we're taking this series tomorrow over in Colorado, and we're going to tear that ass up. I'm telling you right now. Series is tied at 2. It was to see T-Mobile look like T-Mobile Arena, for after the pandemic and after everything that we've kind of put through, it definitely hyped you up. It definitely felt like we're recovering. And to be honest, here in Vegas, we are definitely closer to recovery than we've probably ever been before. I think World of Concrete begins this week, which is a huge convention that we always get. They already announced that CES is coming back in October instead of doing January.
Life is Beautiful is coming back.
EDC.
Man, the festival's coming back around. We are very much still. We're very much opening back up. Most definitely.
It's we're close. So make sure you go out. Make sure you go and support your local theaters, movies, and let us know what movies you guys have actually caught, so that we can get into it. Now,
but what's funny is it's funny how you bring that up, because I think 2 weeks ago, before I was still on my vacation, and I'm like, you know what, man? Like, last year ended kind of crazy. We're in the middle of this pandemic, and I was in the hospital for a little while, and I feel better now. So I'm going outside. You know what I mean? Like, nothing's gonna stop me. Summertime is here. I'm in good shape. I'm gonna go outside. And then almost immediately I regretted that decision. Like, I should keep my ass indoors now, because this is just not for me anymore. Oh my God! Because Vegas. If you live in Las Vegas, or even if you come and you visit this place, you realize that Vegas had really we never really had a pandemic. But now that everything's back open again, people are running amok. And
they're going crazy, man.
To my friends out there, my coworkers out there, those who are watching the show, I don't need to get invited to every single function, because very likely I'm not going to go to every single function. But thank you.
Correction. We like to get invited. I'm great with getting invited. I just can't guarantee I'm going to turn up. But
I cannot guarantee I'm going to go.
Thank you for inviting me beforehand. Let's get into some movie news. There's not a whole lot of movie news going on. A Quiet Place took the box office. Quiet Place Part 2 took the box office. I saw it. I think it's great. Please go check it out.
Now it's the official most successful movie during a pandemic.
That's right.
Yep.
And that's only going to continue on. Next month, you're going to have Black Widow that's going to come in and kind of tear things.
Fast 9's going to come in for a second.
Fast 9 is right around the corner. We're not hearing good things about it, but whatever. We're going to keep our mouth shut until we
heard it's bullshit. But whatever.
We kind of expect that a little. That's all right. And I don't want to say the big movie news, but we did get a new movie trailer. This time of it's weird, and it's going to drop on HBO Max, which is definitely going to help it out. A Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson, coming fresh off her performance in Dr. Sleep, in which, in my opinion, she probably should have been nominated for an Academy Award. Reminisce. This is kind of like a neo-noir. It's kind of like a neo-noir.
Reminiscent.
I'm going to say reminiscent. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Reminiscent. It's kind of this neo-noir thriller of a guy who kind of gets involved with a client, which is where the noir takes come in, because you can feel like this could have been done in an office with Jackman doing a whole inner monologue, talking to himself. But then it kind of kicks it back into the sci-fi side of it, which what I mean by that is they decide to go back into the past, similar to how other movies have done it in the past, to kind of figure out what exactly is kind of going on. Visually speaking, it looks at least entertaining. I'm not expecting huge set pieces from this, but it at least looks really entertaining. And Jackman's kind of one of those actors that he can really carry a serious role when he needs to. He's done it before in sci-fi movies like The Fountain, which, take that movie, whatever you want, but you can't say that didn't end well. It ended very, very well. And I don't know, I kind of felt after watching it, it's one of those, it could be a sleeper. It could honestly be a dud. It could honestly be like the worst thing you've ever watched also. I'm just going to be completely honest. Sometimes that's how these movies turn out. And I know that's kind of cliche, but sometimes you hear the idea of a movie and you're like, man, that sounds fucking cool. Then you watch the movie.
Sound better on paper.
And then the idea execution just doesn't work. So this can go either way, especially with how sci-fi movies are made now. For example, Gemini Man is a perfect example of that. Like the idea of a young Will Smith versus current Will Smith, you know, really fell flat on its face. Really fell flat on its face. So you know, that's my opinion of it. Jay, what do you think?
Man, okay, so I'm sorry to even bring this up, but even the title itself has me like, huh. Because when I hear like reminiscence, I immediately go back to Transcendence with Johnny Depp, and that's just horrible. That movie was just god awful. I will say though that the trailer for this movie was pretty cool. It has a almost like a weird Blade Runner / Inception vibe, and I'm trying to like kind of pinpoint which route they're gonna go with it, considering what the actual premise is. I'm with you. Hugh Jackman can really carry something that's outside of Wolverine, and he can do it well. Like his voice is very specific to where you can pick up on it immediately, like a Jack Nicholson or those actors who have that very strong leading man voice where like you pick them up as soon as you hear it, you know who they are.
Right.
So I'm with it. I never watched. I never seen Westworld, but I know that the co-creator of Westworld is doing this movie, and that's what's up. At this point right now, I'm at least interested to see where it goes. This could be an HBO Max special. I doubt I'm going to go to the movies to see this, but I just feel like at the moment, I'm kind of like where we're going with this. I like you. I think visually it looks great. Story, I'm still trying to figure out what the story is going to be, but cast looks great. Cole from Mortal Kombat is in this, so that's cool. you know. Besides that, yeah, I thought the trailer looked okay. It looked okay.
Let me ask your opinion on something. We're now pretty much 6 months into this kind of project of HBO Max partnering up with Warner Brothers and releasing their movie releases this year at home. Obviously, we know that that's ending because Warner Brothers has partnered up with Paramount or Discovery.
No.
It's Discovery, and then Discovery is going to be taking over HBO, and so apparently that's going to be this whole. I don't want to say it's going to be a whole brand new thing, but how do you feel with these movies that you watch from home now, and that you probably would have never caught in the theaters? Do you think it's more of a good thing? I know that seems a little bit weird because we know how we feel. We know how we feel about streaming movies, but do you think there's a long-term plan that this can turn out to be?
So how do I feel about day and days, basically?
Yeah, like where this basically continues in some format. Maybe it has to be obviously the idea of similar to what Disney Plus does now, which is you can just outright buy the movie and then you own the movie and then that's that, which kind of makes sense. It's on their platform and whatnot.
I feel like the Disney Plus is a little different because the paying $30 additional on top of what you already paid for the app itself is, I think, it's been ridiculous. But at the same time, you do own it for 30 days before it actually comes to Disney Plus, which I'm like, well, whatever. But if we're talking about just HBO Max and Warner Brothers, I think it's a great idea because you have certain projects on there I likely probably wouldn't have paid to go see in theaters. And I figured that out when I saw them at home. Like Mortal Kombat, I wanted to see theaters because it was Mortal Kombat. I really want to see that in theaters. But movies like Those Who Wish Me Dead, movies like The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, like this one coming out with Hugh Jackman, I would gladly sit here in the living room and watch it here, and have the same experience I would have got had I watched it in a movie theater. But certain stuff you just need that movie theater experience. But I do appreciate the opportunity for a movie that I may not be gun ho to watch it in the theater, but I'm at the very least interested to watch the movie itself. I'd watch it at home. So I have always appreciated the idea of the day and date concept. but also as a fan of the art, knowing that in particular HBO Max and Warner Bros. How they put together this idea without consulting the creators, without consulting the actors, without consulting people, the financiers. They're just like, well, we're doing it because we could do that. That part I find fucked up because all these people are putting in this time and everything. Now, for me, only real negative drawback besides that is when you watch a movie in theaters, whether it's a drama, whatever. For example, Judas and Black Messiah, I've seen probably 5 times now. And given the first time we saw it was when we got a screener from Warner Brothers, right? And to know that the movie went as far as it did, as far as Kaluuya winning the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, that's pretty dope to me because you're able to, see where it goes. But I feel like it wasn't as it didn't feel the same. It didn't get that typical 30 to 60 day run in the theaters before it went to streaming. It felt like a Netflix property that didn't get the same love from the Academy or for whomever, because it's almost not valued the same because now it's straight to streaming now. You know what I'm saying? Versus that typical time you go to theaters for 60 days and you get that movie run that you're supposed to get it at. So it's pros and cons with it. I do appreciate I appreciate the day and day release date thing, and I'm pretty sure it won't go past this year. But while we have it, I appreciate it.
I think the idea has to at least be considered, where some way, shape, or form, you give this access to basically purchase it, and maybe you do a small kickback to the theaters, like saying, we don't want to see you guys go away. These guys just prefer to watch it here, which is probably going to be a lot of people, especially as we kind of move forward to full recovery. Obviously masks are gone now, which is, God, I'm so happy about that. And things are going to look that way. I'm with you also. There's going to be certain movies I never would have watched The Conjuring if it wasn't on HBO Max. I still haven't watched Those Who Wish Me Dead, mainly because it just doesn't look that interesting to me. But and maybe that's kind of saying something, which maybe that helps save studios more often also. What if they turn around, finance this movie, expect kind of a run, so they kind of have to, produce that advertising, but they realize that maybe they're not going to get the money that they get for it. So instead, they kind of release it on these platforms, hoping to see if maybe it can drive the numbers that way. And I don't know how well that does in terms of revenue. Definitely not where it's going to go. But I'll tell you where I think it would really, really work out for award ceremony movies. Like basically movies that drop right at the start of October that is going to go for that award push, where people are going to be voicing now and kind of making sure that everybody gets the opportunity to watch this. Because a lot of times, with award ceremony movies, you have no idea how good a movie is, and you have to actively go out of your way to watch it. And there's always going to be good or bad with that. You're going to get some years like 2003 where Return of the King was literally the best movie that year. Very clearly, it was the best movie that year. And then you're going to get sometimes you're going to get it like it was, last year and the year before, where movies like Parasite and where movies like Parasite won it. Where
sorry, my bad.
Where movies like Parasite won it, and where movies, movies like Nomadland wins it. Not saying they don't deserve to be in the conversation, not saying they didn't deserve their win, but the way that Twitter was kind of talking about it afterwards, and then they watched Parasite and they kind of made their own opinions about it. It was kind of all over the place. Like white Twitter, which is what I'm going to refer to them as, was all like, "We're so proud of
Black Twitter."
We're so proud of Parasite for being this like huge whole big thing. Don't get me wrong, I've seen Parasite. It's an interesting story that's not rewatchable at all. Like there is no rewatchability with that kind of movie. But I get it. I get why people are really excited about it. And same thing with Nomadland. Nomadland is a pseudo documentary, that really affects certain type of personalities. Not very much rewatchable. So what if you did this idea where the streaming
Nomadland is a one and done for me.
what if you did this idea where you stream this idea of these Oscar winners or these award ceremony movies, to really come out. Now, obviously, Netflix already kind of has that idea with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Obviously, they put out and other stuff that they do, but studios are more likely to link themselves closer to these apps now, and you're probably going to see more and more of that spread out. I think that is a good and a very much bad thing because the consumer's only going to want so much. Nobody's going to sit there and say, I only want to watch Warner Brothers stuff. Nobody's going to sit there and say, I only want to watch A24 movies. Disney is a special company because Disney owns a lot of properties. If Disney didn't own properties, then you probably would be like, well, I don't know. I mean, families with kids would probably pay for Disney Plus, obviously. But other than that, it doesn't need to be so spread out. But anyways, enough talk about that.
But you know what? Just to wrap it up, what I do see happening, and I've thought about this for some time now. Once the Dan Day thing really took off, I really see happening once they realize that this is the new norm. Getting people back into the theaters is already hard as is, but furthermore, it's like if you really give them the option to either A, go to the theater, or B, just watch at the house. Either way, you start to see the trajectory of how people really view movies now.
In that case, I have a solution for it. It's pretty plain and simple now that I think about it. You can have the ability for somebody to go and buy and outright own this movie 1 week after worldwide opening. 1 week after. So if it released because that's where movies make their most money. They make it within the first week. Right. The rest of it, it kind of spirals down. And Endgame was a different beast altogether. But
and that's why I said when you have a movie that you can watch both in theaters and on a streaming app, we come from a time to when there were movies, bro, that were huge opening week, and it just declined every week from then on. So now you're just taking a theater, taking up space. So instead of you just taking up space, put your heavy hitters in the theaters that you know that they're gonna make their money. Like Fast 9 belongs in the theater. Let's just be honest. That's what it is. But take those ones that you know for a fact after the first week they won't do much. Put them on streaming. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll still get my attention. Just Netflix needs to do it. Hulu needs to do it. I mean, you have all these streaming platforms that are making these big deals with these huge studios. You can really make it work in your favor. And then for Oscar consideration and everything else, that's how you can get people to watch the movie.
Yeah, like I don't understand this whole idea of trying to wait 30 days for the movie, because here's a problem with waiting 30 days. It's like the talk is over, the conversation's already over, with the movie. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, after that first week, we don't really care.
Yeah, I understanding that people are going to be sitting there and kind of thinking about it. Look, Avengers, the Avengers properties, Marvel properties are totally different ballgame. I'm talking about, let's say, Terminator Dark Fate, okay, which has spawned its sequels. You have kind of a mixture of a crowd of people who really liked it and people that are just like, this was really kind of whatever for me, right? So instead of turning this around and doing it where it's like you're expecting the first week push, okay, you get your first week push and you get your first week dollars there, and you could still have it there if it does well enough. But after the first week, it can be released to streaming. at that price that they put it at that $19.99 or $35 if it's Disney or whatever. Which I agree with you. I think that's ridiculous. But give the people
was 30 extra bucks. Like,
I
fuck
know.
out of here. What? No way.
But give the people the chance to actually say, okay, I want to outright own this movie now. Like, I don't even need to wait. There's no point to wait for distribution, especially when they're already talking about getting rid of shit like Blu-ray, you know, and 4K and all that, where they're just like, no, we're just going to fucking put this on fucking streaming apps. And that's that. I don't know. We talked way too much on this topic.
We did.
I do want to cover this movie. I kind of threw this in, you know, and I tend to do this a little bit too often with our shows where I kind of throw in a conversation piece, but
that's why we need it.
I feel like it's a good conversation piece where it's like, where is the future going to look like now? Because it can't go back to the old, because we already showed what was the problem with going back to the old. You know, there's risk with it. There's a huge amount of risk. So you have to find a compromise. You know, you have to
run with the times, man. You got to run with what's happening now.
You have to let industries evolve. It's what fucked Blockbuster because they decided not to evolve, right? So same thing with these movie theaters. You got to learn how to evolve in some way, shape, or form. You know, that's where I'm at with it. All right.
And this is what we need to do is shoot the shit. All right. So we got a good 25 minutes left so we can cover this movie. So let's cover this joint. Speaking of good old Hugh Jackman, we're taking it back to 2001. Guilty movie pleasure for me. I can't even really say it's a guilty movie pleasure. I love this movie. I think this movie is fucking awesome. Take it back to Swordfish, original release date, June 8th, 2001. Shares opening weekend with The Anniversary Party, Bride of the Wind, Evolution. I love Evolution. And Jackson the movie. Production budget, $102 million for the box office.
The Lost Empire also. Atlantis the Lost Empire. Atlantis: The Lost Empire dropped on this week as well. One of the most underrated Disney Disney classics out there.
Cool. Production budget $102 million. Box office total of $147.1 million. 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not sure how to feel about that 25%.
Well, it's a 59% through audience scores, and I'm definitely closer to that 59%. I would actually probably give this movie a 59%. But this is, look, first of all, this movie tries to make itself sound a little bit more complicated than it really is when you really think about it. In short, it's a heist movie, but it's a heist movie on one of the most boring topics out there. Until, you know, recently, you know, when we had all these celebrity picture leaks and had businesses straight up fucking shut down through this. And it talks about hacking, right? A huge plot point of this movie is hacking. And that's kind of a weird thing to do because there's not a lot of action sequences that you can do with hacking. But let me tell you, this movie tries, and it tries really fucking hard to make it look as interesting as it is.
As interesting as possible. What I can say, and this kind of goes right into that first scene. I think the first scene in this movie is actually fucking brilliant because it opens with this monologue being told by Travolta in one of his most weirdest wigs ever for a movie. Like he's literally wearing a mop for hair, which is the craziest shit. But he's telling the story about why movies, go figure, are shit today because they like realism. So he uses Dog Day Afternoon as an example as to what he's talking about, and he makes a lot of sense. He makes like a lot of sense, right? But its opening is a frame to where it's like a scattered frame and like an old VCR frame, if you will, right? And then he's just talking, and then once he says he has to go, next thing you know, you see the cops with the guns. I'm like, oh, shit's getting real already, right? The opening scene to this movie is so dope, right? And then what's the guy that he could very much be my that fool. director Joy, whatever his name is. He's such a prick. He is trying to like set up the guy, like set up Travolta. Cheadle saying no, like you can't do that because we can't fuck with this guy. And he tells you he has this 20 pounds of C4 strapped to everybody in his building's chest, plus the electronic dog collar. So if they walk past his bank, they die. Oh man. When a bomb goes off and shit just, oh my God. I was like, hey, this movie's fucking dope. I am all in for this.
It was definitely excessive with this bomb going off. It's 20 pounds of C4, and it almost hit like it was. Don't get me wrong. I understand C4 is incredibly explosive, but they made this thing look like close to a nuke. Like, at least from that particular level. Where
damage, yeah.
Flew up. People are all over the place because of a dumb decision by Zach Grenier's character, assistant director Joy. And then it cuts itself back to 4 days earlier. And we get this image of Stanley, who played by Hugh Jackman, who is basically on parole, and that forbids him access from the internet. He's a world talented. He's the best hacker in the world, apparently, and he's shirtless playing golf very poorly where he's at. His ex-wife Melissa is an alcoholic and a part-time porn star, and has this huge restraining order against him. And all he wants to do is see his daughter Halle. And Melissa could easily be by that full award in this.
Yeah, because Melissa is just like,
she's not in it a lot, but you have a disdain for her. Like, you're just like, oh, like what did you see?
Even years later, it's like that little. You don't see her twice in this movie. Once when she's alive,
once when she's dead.
So like, oh, cool. So it's like when she does the whole when he calls her, and she answers the phone, and she's all like just strung out and like got a bed full of cigarette butts. She got done, probably getting fucked on camera, whatever. And it's like she gives him shit just for the sake of giving him shit. And so you watch her go at it. He goes, "This bitch here, man." Like, that's your exact words. Like, "Hey, this bitch here, boy. I hope you die later," and you do. So hey, so yeah.
So he's approached by the wonderful and absolutely beautiful. I mean, we are talking like, I don't want to say this is like the prime of her looks, but she is
stunning.
She is
stunning,
breathtaking. From the minute she walks in this kind of high cut dress, thing, almost bathrobe like.
I mean, a sexy glass of Kool-Aid, boy.
This is, man.
Sexy glass of Kool-Aid right there.
Take a sip of my water before I even begin to even.
Let me get some water. You keep going.
Mm-hmm. The incredible Halle Berry, of course, approaches, drives all the way out to basically persuade him to work for an unknown person, as we would later known is Gabriel Scheer, played by John Travolta. And this kind of back and forth between them is kind of going all over the place until she throws basically $100,000 right into him. Just says, all you have to do is go to this meeting, talk with him, and see if you can do what he's asking, and we'll go from there. So after some convincing and thinking he could use that $100,000 to possibly get custody back of his daughter, Stanley, of course, flies out all the way to LA. And where Gabriel kind of approaches him, and there's something really cool about Travolta in this movie. He never.
There's not something.
Yeah.
Travolta is cool as shit in this movie. I
mean, and mind you, he has the Chad goatee,
the fucking Kyle. Oh my god,
fucking Keith here is just sitting there like whatever. But basically, he's just. Everything he has, it's not that he's reserved. He's very like kind of low spoken. It's almost kind of monotonous, but you can always feel like he's a presence. Like keep your eye on him because
he draws a line between flamboyant and like very reserved. It's like
exactly.
He's not loud, but he's fucking loud. You know what I'm saying?
What is easily, in my opinion, the best scene in this movie, minus the scene that that is obviously going to get a lot of attention from us. He decides to persuade Stanley to crack a secure U.S. DoD server. Now, he says most hackers can crack this in 60 minutes. I'm going to have you crack this in 60 seconds. But there's going to be more to that because you're going to take
there's an incentive.
There's more.
You get your dick sucked too.
He takes a test tube of tequila and downs it as he has this girl, kind of draped all over him, and they proceed to have his boy to unpants him, and she begins to straight up sucking his dick. No problem whatsoever.
And that's what makes Travolta's character so fucking cool. Because, like, even though in hindsight, I'm sure Stanley enjoyed that hit. I'm sure he did. But think about the level of pressure.
He had to pause to think.
Yeah. Ooh, she's going. But the thing is like, think about the overall situation. Like, you have a girl giving you brain. You're trying to crack the security code, and there's a gun in your head too. On top of that,
and there's a gun to your head.
Now, I just don't. This is so kinky. I love it, but I'm frightened at the same time.
Here's where this movie gets a little ridiculous. He does not actually start to crack this code until 46 seconds are left on the clock, as he tries to say, "This is insane," the whole thing. And he begins to kind of do the whole, which is what they always did in like the 2001's movie. I'm like, he's doing nothing. Nothing.
Every hacker has the same. You're typing nothing. But you're just scribbling. You're scribbling on lines.
Like a coffee shop, with some dark ass sunglasses and spiked up hair and a Matrix fucking jacket, and and he goes, and Stanley, of course, gets it completed a little bit after the time is over, but he's able to get access to Travolta to do so. And after the hack, Gabriel offers Stanley $10 million to program a multi-headed worm, or a hydra, to siphon some money, but not just any money. And this plot point wasn't even mentioned until 50 minutes into this movie, which is a little weird because I don't want to say that this movie's poorly paced, but there were some decisions on like, well, why is he even here?
I assume you're referring to Sam Shepard, right?
Yeah. Well, no. I'm referring to when they finally get the idea of when to actually like get to the plot of the story. Like, why is Stanley even here? Like, why is he creating this bug? And basically what it was some mumbo jumbo of Operation Swordfish, where they had some money to kind of funnel money laundering, through some companies. And apparently it's just been sitting there and is now worth about $9.5 billion, which is a ridiculous sum of money to even think about. So by creating this Hydra to do so, is whatever. And then we get what's probably the second or even best scene in this movie, depending on the person that you have. Stanley goes and he decides to see his daughter, but he doesn't have transportation to see his daughter. So he needs to ask Ginger transportation. So Halle is sitting there reading a newspaper, and Stanley goes, "Ginger," and she uncovers, and you see
I do not
A quality.
I do not mind. I do not mind whatsoever looking at Halle's beautiful breast.
And let me be fair. It's not that Halle doesn't go nude in later movies. It's just the fact that Halle at this point is an A-list celebrity, or at least this movie propels her to that A-list movie. And the fact that she gets topless in this is...
They sold this movie on the fact that she gets topless in it. So when it comes up...
Selling point. Absolutely.
They sold this... Hey, Swordfish, what? Halle Berry's titties!
And I totally get...
Okay, I'm with that.
Look, I totally get that Hollywood's trying to stay away from that unless you watched Army of the Dead and you watch zombie stripper titties. I mean, that's one thing. I know Hollywood's trying to get away from that, but there was a selling point back then, that, this is, look, the movie Basic Instinct is a perfect example of this. The movie itself is kind of whatever. Like, it's long, the dialogue's whatever, there's not a whole lot of action. But that scene. That you're looking for, and you're willing to sit down and fucking watch this 2.5.
Listen, bro, I remember distinctively Access Hollywood doing a whole piece about this. Like, the first movie, Halle Berry is topless. Like, is it? And it turns out it was. But the funny thing was, even though this is the first movie that she is topless in, the next movie she is full blown butt naked and gets like crazy, like country guy fucked in it, which is Monster Ball. So it's like,
which she won the Academy Award for,
which is cool. But it's like, so if I get topless in this, I can go buck wild in this one, which is cool, because like, yeah, titties, naked, crazy sex, giving the guy a head, like you go full throttle with it now, like okay, cool.
And
but the Halle Berry's titties was definitely a selling point for this movie for sure.
And to be fair, and we need to make sure that I want to make sure that we hit on this. Halle was absolutely cool with this because she even stated afterwards that she wanted to get over her fear of basically being naked on screen. Like, she wanted opportunities for that to possibly happen, so she was fine with it. And that's awesome. Like, look, whatever you're cool with, you're cool with. If you're not cool with it, don't do it, in my opinion. But it was definitely a selling point. And this is kind of where the weirdness of Travolta and Ginger's character's relationship is there, because she is in compromising situations, bro. Like, so much compromising situations with Stanley that you just kind of say, what is she? What is she doing here? And you later find out her role is...
What do you do here?
A DEA agent. Or is she? No, but she's really a DEA agent. Or is she really? We'll find out. So basically...
By the way, the lingerie is top notch. I mean, top notch. Yeah. Like, you pull a gun on me with that black joint anytime, Halle, anytime.
This next scene is probably might cut that out. I'm just going to be honest. Of course, Jackman goes and he sees. We also have another agent that's involved. It's Don Cheadle, and Don's the one that put Stanley behind bars a long time ago. So obviously, there has to be some sort of meetup for them to kind of get to know, for them to kind of meet up with each other. And this scene is a little bit too long. Jackman goes, meets up with his daughter, picks her up from there, drops her off back at the mansion because her mom's a piece of shit. Meanwhile, an FBI agent or whatever department they're in hops into Jackman's car, and out proceeds kind of this pseudo chase scene that involves a way too long scene of them falling off a mountain.
Falling down the hill. Yeah.
And I'm not joking when I say that's falling down a mountain. There's no way that they survive it. There's no way. There's no way
There's even like Hugh Jackman goes for it. Cheadle doesn't even think twice. He goes for it. But the third cup's like, oh, damn. I'm like, fuck that. He got him. He got him.
Like, get the car and start making your way down, dude. Like,
nah, fuck that. He got that. And then to know that it was going to end like that anyway, I'll get the car. We're good. It's all good.
It's easily might cut that out. Of course, Cheadle's trying to figure out what exactly is going on. Jackman's not giving him much of anything. All right. We also later find out as early on in the film, we got this other actor named, or not actor, but this other character named Axel Torvalds, who was killed for trying to do something similar. And this is part of the reason why Cheadle is involved in the first place. Stanley opts to implement a secret backdoor code in his Hydra that would reverse the money transfer after a short period. So We then get the introduction to Sam Shepard, who oversees Black Cell, which is what these guys basically are, and learns that the FBI.
This is almost like I cut that out because Sam Shepard is just. I feel like, why are you here? But,
There's no right. There's kind of.
I'm right back. You go.
Right.
You go.
There's no point. There's no point in Sam Shepard here. Basically, has started tracking Gabriel and orders him to stand down. Gabriel refuses and narrowly defeats a hit team that was dispatched by Reisman. And in retaliation, Gabriel personally goes after Sam Shepard, Reisman being the guy, and revenge continues his plan. Mind you, Stanley is now seen that Gabriel's willing to do whatever he wants to get this fucking money. There is a kind of a cool scene during this chase scene that, Travolta kind of stands up, both guns pointing in opposite directions, very John Woo style, to kind of shoot down these guys. But
yeah, very wooish. That scene was it was cool though.
It was cool, very wooish. I half expected a flock of doves to come out of somewhere. So, of course, Stanley delivers the Hydra to Gabriel and leaves to see his daughter, Halle, only to find that Gabriel has killed Melissa, the mom, and has kidnapped Halle and framed him for Melissa's death alongside the husband and porn producer, which I'm assuming that they were either getting ready to film porn or had just finished filming porn, because this dude
you never quite know on these sets,
He's in leopard print underwear when he dies, and she's in, lingerie type thing afterwards. It's like, is this what you guys wear all the time? And the answer to that is yes.
But this goes back to Travolta, his character being like really cool. Because granted, yes, he does kidnap Halle, but he kills Melissa on the way out. Now that's a stand-up guy for you, because Melissa really ain't shit.
G of a villain right there.
That's a G right there. Like yeah, I'm kidnapping your daughter for sure. But her mama's the bitch, so she had to go.
There's something honorable about Travolta in a way, because he is a man of his word for the most part. In this case, it goes back to the beginning scene of the movie, and of course, police are surrounding the ranch, whatnot. The bomb had just exploded, and Gabriel instructs Stanley to launch the Hydra and turns Halle over to him once completed, and also transfers the $10 million into a foreign bank account that Stanley can now recover, which is kind of cool. But
at this time, though, we did find out that Gabriel does have a body double, like a dead body double, too. Because he speaks on the misdirection thing from Dog Day.
Well, he mentions it from the Harry Houdini quote. He mentions a quote from Harry Houdini, stating he's a great magician because
he discovers this body double that's like damn, like the exact replica of him. Like, oh, so at least we know how this was going to end.
Which makes cool. Curious if it actually was like a twin instead of like a creation, that he was secretly a twin the whole time, because it was a little too on point. So the back door triggers before they can leave the bank, which leads to Stanley being recaptured while Halle is rescued. Gabriel threatens to kill Ginger, who he knows is a DEA agent. Straight up hanging her, in front of him, unless Stanley resiphons the money back to the Monte Carlo bank. And even though Stanley complies, Gabriel shoots Ginger anyway, mentioning to Stanley she was fucking DEA in the process. So Gabriel and his men.
All right, so
go ahead.
Wait.
We're doing the buses.
Where we at? Oh yeah, cool. The bus scene. Now, actually, no, you take it. You love this scene. I'm not gonna go about it. You take this one.
All right. This is kind of a cool scene because you have a whole bunch of hostages that are everywhere. And if they get away from the trigger point too far away, they blow up. And it's just kind of a cool scene. Like basically they load onto them and demand a plane to wait for them at the local airport. This is the demand going to the FBI. Of course, en route, This bus is fucking lifted off from a goddamn helicopter that's like that just kind of swoops in out of nowhere and just latches a cable onto them, and everybody's kind of lifted off. And I thought afterwards, I was like, you know what? That's not bad. That's not a bad way to go. Of course, the helicopter, unfortunately, is dealing with strong winds, which I think is kind of a cop-out for the movie. And one of the cables actually snaps on it.
Cable snaps.
Causing Vinnie Jones and one of the hostages to fall out of the back of this bus, in which they both
blow
up completely. They are able to land. On the bus, and Gabriel decides to deactivate the bombs and depart with his surviving men on this other awaiting helicopter on this roof to basically head out. And in the process, they left behind an RPG, which is a little weird to leave behind. You would think that's one of the things I would probably take. In which Stanley shoots down using rocket propelled.
It's one of the weirdest things you could possibly leave behind. Like
that's
you need that.
Things I can understand leaving behind a pistol, but a rocket propelled grenade, an RPG, that's not something I'm necessarily leaving behind. You know?
Oh yeah, oh a gun. Clack. No, I left the whole fucking RPG.
Right.
You need that?
So
like the police is on your ass.
I'm gonna let you finish out this movie, man. I talked enough. Finish out the movie.
All right. So Stanley was probably thinking like us, like, oh, they left the RPG. They're probably gonna need that, but I'm using it though. So he goes and gets it, grabs it, shoots at them, shoots down the helicopter. And we're at the time led to believe that Gabriel was gone. However, Roberts takes Stanley to the to verify the corpse, only to really kind of think back, realizing that the same good old burnt up to a crisp face of Travolta was his twin that was in the his little crater there, and he recognized that the corpse as one that he saw earlier, and he had realized that the whole scenario was a deception. Goes back to the story about misdirection with Harry Houdini and Dog Afternoon. The police can't find Ginger's corpse. Clearly, she's not dead. And then it's also revealed that she was wearing a bulletproof vest at the time and was working with Gabriel all along. So Gabriel escapes a different route. Obviously, I'm kind of weird about this route because, like, we saw you get on the plane alive and well. The little body double we saw was already dead when we saw him. So when did you misdirection? Where was it? We saw you get on the joint anyway. That's probably why I cut that out. I'm like, well, we saw you get on to where was? Did you jump out? We just didn't see you jump out, or but Stanley. Not telling the police that Gabriel and Ginger are definitely still alive. He knows that they're still alive. Roberts arranges for Stanley to have full custody of Halle because his bitch ex-wife is gone. You know, and where they depart to places elsewhere and they drive off and happily ever after. Then we cut to Monte Carlo, into which we see alive as day Ginger taking some stolen money out. And then joining good old John Travolta, who's also alive and kicking with a whole new hairstyle, and the Kyle is gone. And before we get to the closing credits, a news report reveals that the destruction of a yacht carrying a known terrorist as the third such incident in as many as weeks. So obviously, Gabriel and Ginger are out here destroying some shit because, well, they can't.
Well, they're
and that's Swordfish in a nutshell.
Which is. They're at least destroying terrorists, which kind of makes you curious. Like, is Gabriel really a villain, or is he just like a really, really fucked up anti-hero? I don't know.
He's cool as shit. He's cool as shit.
Cool as shit.
But that Swordfish, and we literally finished on time. That's crazy, man. We finished on time. All right, so let's get to some takeaways here. I feel like we're going to agree a lot on the first three. Then the rest we're going to defer. Who's going to give that guy a word?
It's got to be Travolta. I like Jackman a lot in this role. In fact, he does carry a little bit more of the emotional weight in there. But there's just something cool about Travolta. There's something cool about Travolta kind of being the mastermind behind the plan of everything, and he's the kind of guy that doesn't let a lot of things phase him. You know, he knows what he's playing for, and he knows how to get people to work for him for sure. Give me a blowjob.
But he doesn't use a lot of violence. He gets you laid, he gets you paid, he may kill you.
Right.
But kill is like he doesn't want to do the kill you part.
I mean, what are friends really for?
That's your gourd.
Easily Halle Berry. It's not even close. As the character Ginger's just okay. Part of the reason,
Halle Berry's titties.
Part of the reason why is because once Ginger is revealed to be DEA, it's almost like she takes a complete step back in this movie. Like she's kind of not really seen basically until she's basically killed until it's revealed that she's not killed. But leading up to that role, I mean, she was really kind of handling it very well. Then you see your titties, everything is great. You're kind of loving it. Then she's in lingerie, everything's even better. And then the character.
You say it so not like listen, she's lingerie, she titties a lot, and it's great.
There's a lot.
Dress on, see titties.
That being said, the character Ginger probably could use a little bit of work, but to be honest, like you're really not going to give it to anybody else in this movie.
That full of work.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Melissa. Everything about you is horrible, and you kind of got what you deserved. And maybe you didn't exactly get what you deserved, but you had it coming to you. You're the kind of person that just it's a taste in your mouth, that you do when you think of her. She's just kind of whatever.
And I can imagine that entire house smells like straight menthol.
It's menthol and lavender.
and lots of lotion, menthol and lotion. Where we at with I'm sorry. Cut that up.
I'm gonna cut out the little chase scene of throwing somebody down a mountain to survive. It's unnecessary. This movie was already fine. That particular scene made it a little silly. Like it's like, okay, come on. Like we didn't really need this. Like it could have literally just been that they scooped him up, and they talk at a coffee shop or whatever, and whatever, right? Like no, that scene wasn't necessary at all. Especially because nothing came of that scene. Like it's not like Cheadle figured out like what the big plan was or anything, because even Stanley didn't know what the big plan was. So no.
So you fell down that mountain for nothing? For nothing.
There was nothing that came of it.
Yeah. Does it hold up?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it'll hold up, 5 to 10 years later from now. I think people are going to be like, okay, this is just kind of a little bit too 2001. I really, really enjoyed the perpetual sunset filter that they had, where the entire story feels like it's taking place right at like 6:45 in the evening, because you just have this sunset filter throughout it all. But overall, like, I think it holds up fine. It's a guilty pleasure. It's going to be one of those things where you kind of watch and you're going to be like, that was cool. I'm really glad I watched that. And then, maybe you don't come back to it until you find it on HBO or whatever later on. But no, yeah, I think it holds up.
Right. And I kind of see.
So this is where you and I are probably going to differ. I'm going to give it to the blowjob scene. Because it's ridiculous to even think about. I've never been put into such a pressuring situation, not that I've never wanted to have a gun pointed at my head while getting a blowjob, and I have to break into a national security database in 60 seconds. That is...
You have three different things you're trying to focus on.
And he fucking killed it. And he...
Oh my God.
And he didn't release. Good for him. Good for him. He didn't need a towel afterwards. Good for him. Way to hold it in there. My guy, who's getting you that guy award?
Oh man, hands down, hands down, Sam Shepard. No bullshit. My That Guy Award is for sure going to John Travolta. Man, he's the epitome of cool in this movie. It's like, as far as his villain turn, Face Off, he's great. Broken Arrow, he's good. Pulp Fiction, he's just entertaining. Swordfish, he's so. I can't call him weird. I can't call him psychotic. I can only call him passionate. You know what I'm saying? About getting whatever this thing he sets out to do. And he does evil shit along the way to kind of get his job done. And so he's so cool. Like when Ivan or whatever the cast name in the airport they get shot, when he describes his world to Don Cheadle, he looks like a player, a full-blown player. Pulls up in his dope-ass Porsche, European style, gets out the car. He got like 8 girls waiting on him. Walks in, hugs everybody, hair looking like a mop flopping in the wind. He just looks like a cool dude. And to know that he'll do some wild shit to get with you. But overall, though, Travolta was great.
Definitely. Who is getting your That Chick Award?
Halle Berry's titties.
Yep.
No, Halle Berry for sure, man. She, this movie is sold on the fact that she does get naked. So, what else can you really say? But as far as her as a performer, she's great. I, like you, kind of want to see a bit more. I want to see kind of Ginger kind of be more like, all right, so who is Ginger? Like, she's literally a side character.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah, like she's literally just a side character. But if it's not Ginger, then it's Halle, the daughter, but she's barely in it. And Melissa, well, you die, and you die horribly. So
yeah. That full award.
That fool would have to go to
Vinnie Jones.
Sam Shepard. Actually, I have no need for Sam Shepard to be in this movie. And the scene that annoys me, that always annoy me, is that when Sam Shepard's assistant tells him that the guy got caught at the airport, and as they're walking, he puts on these super duper big 5 let's go camping dad glasses. I'm like, that didn't need a frame, but whatever.
Fair enough. Cut that out.
Cut that out. I would cut out stuff that includes Sam Shepard.
Yeah. Kind of saw that coming. Does it hold up?
It does. It does. This movie is fucking fun. It's so much fun. And the fact that 2001, I remember seeing a one sheet in a theater, and before we got the actual poster of the movie, where it's like it's Travolta, Barry, Cheadle, and Jackman all kind of in this studio apartment next, so all kind of sitting on the bed, kind of chilling. I'm like, what the hell is this? What is this movie about? Prior to that, it was another poster to where it was a computer, what appeared to be like in the ocean, and it says Swordfish, password accepted, coming this summer. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So the development of what this is like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna watch it. So if you look at if you Google the original poster for Swordfish, the first teaser poster is a computer in like bottom of the ocean that says Swordfish on it. And that's what you got. The follow-up poster is all 4 of them in this studio apartment, sitting on a bed, kind of looking at the screen like this, and they're posing and coming soon, Swordfish. So you let me be like, what is this fucking movie about? But yeah, it does. It's a good time. Now, this is 20 years later. 20 years from now, I don't know. But for me, right now, 20 years later, it still holds up for sure.
Fair enough. And finally, iconic scene.
Oh, we're gonna do the same thing. Halle Berry's titties. No, Halle Berry's titties felt forced. Like not that we view movies in the way we view movies. The whole scene just felt forced. It felt like
absolutely not complaining about it.
I'm not complaining about it. It's still Halle Berry's titties, but it's just like once you see him walking in, I'm like, this is the scene. This is the scene. You know what I'm saying? Like once he walks in, you feel like yeah, this is it. And it cuts to her like, this is it.
You almost got me. And
he goes, good morning. And she goes, afternoon. Titties! We knew they were coming. And that was the scene. But, oh, shit, titties. No, but I'm going to go with you. And I think the Helga scene, the Helga scene of making Stan crack this code with a gun to his head, getting a blowjob it's just so boss. It's like this can go any kind of way.
What other high pressure scenes do you have that leads to that kind of success? There's only one that immediately comes to mind, and that's The Untouchables. That incredibly long scene where the baby is falling down the stairs, kind of riding out, but he knows he's expecting people. And Andy Garcia has to like slide across the floor and shoot somebody in the chest or something like that. That's probably the first thing that pops to my mind. But no, man.
Oh man, and what makes that scene so good? What makes that scene so good is that there's a part where Vinny Jones has like the gun and he's waiting to pull that trigger. Like I'm gonna kill this fucker now, but Stanley goes. Cuts to Travolta. Oh, she's good, right? Oh, what a dick thing to say. Like, he has a gun in my head. I'm getting crazy toppy right now. I'm trying to crack this fucking code. Shut the fuck up talking to me. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I like it later on because, again, they do the high-pressure scene again with we're trying to reverse stuff so he can save Ginger's life. And Travolta starts talking again, and Jackman's just like, shut the fuck up. He's like, can you shut the fuck up? I'm like, fair enough. It's pretty accurate. All right. Let's get
all right, man. Quick hits. Wrap this thing up.
Quick hits.
I'm all good to go.
Kick it off.
All right. Vinny Jones was gonna do a stunt, but John Travolta stopped him, and a stuntman did it instead. The wire broke, and the stuntman fell 60 to 70 feet onto a concrete floor, breaking his spine.
John Travolta turned down the part of Gabriel a total of 6 times. He changed his mind when he heard director Dominic Senna's take on
it. Halle Berry agreed to do the top of the scene because she wanted to overcome her fear of doing nude scenes. Halle Berry's titties.
Travolta and Jackman both love to sing show tunes, so on set they often sang songs from Oklahoma and other musicals together, which is kind of hilarious considering where both their careers went.
I totally believe it. I believe that through and through. The actors were all reacting to blank computer screens. The graphics were added later.
In an interview, Halle Berry talked about her nude scenes in this film and Monsters Ball. Her gritty role in Monsters Ball won her an Academy Award for Best Actress. But for a lot of viewers, Berry's very intense sex scene with Billy Bob Thornton comes to mind when thinking of the film. Yes, it does. Although Berry doesn't regret the scene, she doesn't believe these kind of scenes are really necessary at all. During her film, Swordfish, in which she also appears naked, Berry had this to say: I don't think... in brackets, taking it all off for the camera is ever necessary. I think you can make every single movie and never show anything and it's fun. I think it's a choice you make, and it was a bold choice on my part. But it was written in the script, and when I was offered the part, I was told, that's who this girl is, and it's not negotiable to be taken out. Berry said she agreed to the scene because it showed you that the character was in control of her sexuality and very comfortable with herself. So read that as you wish on that. Fascinating commentary there.
And like I said, she got topless here. She got fucked insane in Monsters Balls. It's like, well, hey, there's some comfort there. The scene in which the bus is swung was actually shot by hiring a group of people to sit in a bus in front of a blue screen while they swung the bus from a crane. According to the stunt coordinators, the same effect could have been portrayed for half the cost.
At one point during Stanley's attempt to hack into the Department of Defense database, his screen shows 6 numbers that appear to be IP addresses. The first is 213.225.312.5. The numbers be between decimal points to an IP address. Called octets are decimal representations of 8-bit numbers, 8 binary digits of either 0 or 1. Therefore, the range of decimal numbers for an octet is 0 to 255 because basically 8 ones in binary is 255 in decimal. The IP addresses on Stanley screens each contain one octet higher than 255, such as 312 in the first example, which is apparently the filmmaker's way of ensuring that no one's real IP addresses appear. Good move.
And I'll do one more. There were rumors that Halle Berry was paid an extra $500,000 to bare her breasts in the sunbathing scene, but she denied the rumors, joking her breasts were worth far more than that. Halle Berry's titties. That's right. Know your worth.
Know your
worth.
And that is Swordfish. And
that's Swordfish, ladies and gentlemen.
That was fun. I'm really glad we caught this one. This upcoming summer, it's going to be a lot of fun for us. We get to reminisce my first movie experience here in Las Vegas, coming up around my birthday. Next week's movie is probably hasn't aged well. I can tell you that right now.
Oh no, it has not aged well. So I'm looking forward to not talking about it, but it kind of is what it is. However, we will wrap up the month with a special guest, and then of course next month we have a lot of great stuff coming up, and we can keep this thing going, man. Man, Danger, where can they find you?
In my bed here in about 5 minutes. You can find me IG, Twitter, and Facebook at David Danger Neff. I appreciate everybody posting into the Back to the Classics group. I'm sorry I haven't been partaking nearly as much as I probably should, but to be honest, like there is still some burnout that I'm dealing with there. But yeah, so make sure you hop on, come join us, get in the conversation, and I'll let Jay do his thing here in just a second. But thank you guys so much for all your contributions and all your hard work. Somehow this group is still growing, even though I'm not promoting that at all right now. I keep gaining approvals for other people, and we're getting close to about 1,350. Maybe we kind of start re-promoting towards the end of this year and try to get us closer to that 2,000 number that I'm coveting. We'll see, though. We'll see where everybody's kind of feeling at that point. In terms of content creation, yes, we are looking to do more stuff. It's just a matter of a little bit of scheduling. Actually, a lot of that is scheduling, and trying to make sure everybody's on the same page. So we'll definitely get into that. But my guy Jay Alonso, wrap up the show. Let's get out of here, partner. Where can they find
All right. Well, you can find me on all the social media simply at official Jay Alonso. That's Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and this just in. If you're watching the show on day of, then you know that the trailer's already out. The first Spider-Man, what's it called? Spider-Man No Way Home trailer has just dropped. Boy, I'm going to watch it. But yeah,
Did it literally just drop?
It literally just dropped.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it dropped.
Well,
it dropped for sure.
We will talk about that more next week. We may even do a quick react on IG tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah. Let's see where this goes. Anyway, the Best Class Moves Our group is up. I'm going to jump on there and join the conversation. Of course, follow us on Instagram at BTTC Podcast. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. There's nothing better than to send folks out there. Thank you for so long. It's hard to believe we're now. We're in June in 2021. This year's flying by like it's on crack. Thank you for rocking with us. We'll see y'all next week. This is Back to Classics. I'm Jay Alonso. With me, of course, he is
Danger Net. Go Knights, go! Let's take this.
Go home. Knights, go!
Take this home.
All right, y'all be cool. Peace. Halle Berry's titties.